Hello and welcome to the NinjaVideo Manifesto. This one is a bit different from the rest in that I'm the only person on the line. I'm Farah, by the way, just in case you didn't know or you're new to the NinjaVideo podcast, and I'll be doing this one solo. This is partially scripted, partially free thought, and I'm going to try to keep it as lighthearted as I can, but at the end of the day, this is probably the most serious podcast we've ever done. This is our mission statement. It doesn't really get much clearer than that. We decided in light of our recent traffic spikes with the start of the fall season and the havoc it wreaked with our system that maybe it was time to really explain who and what we are as an entity. I think it's become quite obvious that NinjaVideo is a bit of a monster to run, and a lot of you are probably curious as to why we do it. So for this podcast, I'm not only speaking to you as Farah, but also as the voice of the administrators, the moderators, the entire NinjaVideo community, and in a way as one of the representatives of the online video world. And perhaps through this you'll gain a better understanding of why people like us spend such a giant amount of time doing what we do. By the way, I take the title of representative of the online video world very loosely. Nobody put me in this position. I'm not quite sure if I want to be in it, but it's a reality, and though this might open up me and my website to a bit of unwanted scrutiny, it's something that we as a community felt needed to be done. So, that's me. That's Ninja. And let me now explain who this is for. This is for everyone. To everyone that's ever watched a video online, to anyone that's ever viewed a clip on YouTube, to every uploader and downloader, to those within the scene and the peer-to-peer, to the bootleggers that have gotten locked up for selling their wares on a street corner, to the cammers that risk their freedom every single night in movie theaters. That's one side of it, right? This is also for the other side. We're doing this all-encompassing. This is for the lawyers sending out notices. This is to movie producers and studio heads, to all the script writers and to the actors. This is for everyone. I'm not going to go into too much on what we do, as I think if you're listening to this, you most likely know. But in a sentence or two, we are a high-quality video site. Probably the best one out there, and I say this as a user of my own site and not just as the admin. We provide TV primarily, as well as a significant documentary section, new movie releases, and sporting events, in addition to a few other things. We're loved by millions, but we're hated by quite a few. And as to how we started, most of us at the top were already members of this online video community, and we just saw an emphasis on quality lacking, so we came together to create the highest quality site online. That said, let me explain a little bit about Ninja Main. We're realists. We know what brings people to NinjaVideo, Ninja Main in particular. It is 0-hour releases on TV and movies, but while they're here, they can learn. From our documentaries to the depth of our forum, we are a classroom in so many ways, as well as an outlet for your general entertainment. We did this very consciously. We could have a third of the videos that we do on the main site and be equally as successful, but we chose not to. We wanted to educate. We wanted to be different from every other site out there by establishing a community that revolves around the main site. Our community has its own rules and hierarchy, but it's one where people can shed the superficialities of the physical world and discuss everything from good TV to good music to land reform in China to the recent and upcoming elections. And they can do this with complete freedom, as long as it's done in a respectful manner. People have dedicated enormous chunks of their lives to creating this home of ours online, and if one was to skim through my boards, they would see it in its full glory every day. Though it may be argued though it may be argued that we as an entity are the ultimate leech for what we take from the film and the TV industry, my community and those that helped build it are anything but. This is not an anonymous place of fake thank yous and ignorant requests, but the closest that the internet has ever come to an extended family. There's really no way for me to explain it and do it justice, but I suspect if you were to register and to lurk the boards for a few days, you would understand what I was saying quite clearly. So with all that being said, let's get to some of the central points of this podcast. Why do sites like NinjaVideo exist? Or why do people like us prefer this online world to theaters so much at a time? What is our take on studios and Hollywood and the businesses that we are so closely tied to but not quite friendly with? I'm just going to speak a bit broadly here and go into what is probably the central point of this, the meat of this. Okay. When when did the American pastime of going to the movies become a luxury? Honestly, when? When did family night at the movies start costing $50 without popcorn? As a wise moderator of mine once said, when did leisure get taken hostage? Look around you. The world is in crisis, economic as well as social. Why was one of the few escapes available to us as a society taken out of the layman's reach? And I want to point something out. Your numbers, they're so wrong. You break record numbers every season. $200 million opening weekends. Every year, those at the top of your business get richer and richer. And we, your loyal fans, pay more and more to view 2 hours of regurgitated plot. You say that piracy is killing you, but do you honestly think that the 1,000 people who watched a movie online would be the same 1,000 that would go to the theaters if that option was taken from them? Your statistics are lies. If nothing else, it is through internet word of mouth that so many otherwise obscure films succeed. I'd like to ask you a question sometimes. Perhaps I'm being naive, but honestly, why can an actor be paid $20 million for a movie? Why are there doctors out there paying off student loans for 50 years, but someone who essentially lies for a living makes millions? And this is for the entire entertainment industry. Sports players are very much included in this, mainstream musicians, all of you. And if the comparison to doctors is a bit off, then why do you make so much more than your writers? Why was there a writer's strike last year that halted TV production for the first time in years when someone like Jennifer Aniston or Jerry Seinfeld was making $1 million per episode for a 22-minute sitcom? And why? And this is probably more important. Why have we, as a society, accepted this? Why do we race to newsstands for glorified tabloids mimicking news? Why is CNN reporting on Britney Spears rather than the Congo? Why am I supposed to care that Angelina Jolie had or adopted another child? Why? It's so upsetting. Why are we obsessed with this disgusting celebrity culture where someone like Paris Hilton is a heroine and children don't know who Mahatma Gandhi is? Why, in a world where for the first time true knowledge is accessible to us via a few keystrokes, are test scores plummeting? Please explain to me why college in the United States is utterly unaffordable. This pains me. This pains me so much. My generation, we're a generation of cynics, apathetic to all around us, indifferent to so much. But when did being those things mean that we had to become ignorant? When did that happen? There are times that I find myself bewildered at my own inability to feel compassion, but at the same time I'm plagued by these overarching ideals. I care not, right? Care not for the man standing next to me, but I sob for humanity. I weep for these ideals that I feel are being lost or pushed aside today. I fail at paying my own rent on time, but I can stare aghast at someone who doesn't know that there's a conflict between Israel and Palestine, or that there's still war going on in the world. There are giant issues out there. Enormous. Issues that are so much greater than generic media consumption. Issues requiring attention far greater, I guess, far more attention in general than I could ever bring